Welcome to the Big Fat Real Estate Checks podcast with Marco Kozlowski, where we help investors like you get the knowledge and skills you need to replace your JOB with passive cash flow for life.
Hey everyone, welcome to hopefully a very exciting episode. Today we're going to be joined with Frank Galluccio and Gabriel Araish. Montreal is Gabriel and Toronto is Frank, and I am, of course, in my home in Orlando, Florida, but originally from Montreal as well. And if you are just joining us for the first time, I highly recommend that you listen to at least the first 10 podcasts to get you up to snuff, so you understand all the terms, what we're talking about, asset-based lenders, how you never have to use a nickel out of your own money to buy anything ever, and what we're going to be discussing today specifically is how to optimize, or basically our business model to optimize and pull out money whenever we buy a property. Because we're not just buying properties to make the cash flow and build our wealth, but we're also buying it so we can optimize the asset, pull out as much money as we can during the refinance phase, and then use that cash tax-free, of course, to go buy more or to enjoy our life, whatever that case may be. And if you haven't listened to some past episodes, I highly recommend that you do, because you might be a little lost on this one, since we're going to get into a little bit of a technical things. Can't speak English today. Technical things to make your life better and your family's life better and give you more time and just have more fun in life, if that's something that you like to do. Work less, make more, and just keep more, have more fun. That's the whole point. All right, so let's discuss optimization. For those of you that do not know, maybe you're listening to this again out of sequence, which is just dandy. Our objective is to buy assets using none of our own money, of course, and the only way to do that is to buy it at the right price. And once you buy it at the right price, we then look for an upside. We're not looking to buy anything, but something that has an opportunity to grow the business, an opportunity either in reduced rents, something that is, and we're of course discussing multifamilies, mobile home parks, anything where there's a lower occupancy that there should be, or less revenue than there should be due to poor management, or maybe something that needs a little bit of sprucing up, not complete rehabs. Only Frank loves those and loves the pain in the ass in that, but I'm terrified and have no interest in dealing with contractors that are teenagers that just keep requesting more money, more time, and no thanks. But Frank is pretty skilled at it, so good on Frank. I just don't have the patience. So we're looking for something with that has an opportunity to raise rents, and you'll understand why this is so important as we get into the math that we're going to be doing near the end. Because our business model is to find the right asset that has the right upside, which we're going to discuss in this episode. And once we optimize it, to pull as much cash out as possible. And those refinance paydays can be over $1 million if you do it right. So really, really exciting stuff. So I've introed it. Gabriel, do you want to pick up from where I am right now and just let's go?
Well, sure. Well, I mean, the first step is obviously, like you said, is buying it right. And something that's important to note, at least in my end, you did mention that Frank likes the full gut rehabs and whatnot, but I much prefer buying a property that has a lot of upside, but it is currently cash flowing when I'm buying it. So even in its current state, it's providing the return, or at least the sexy returns that we like. And then from there, draw up a plan, which we'll discuss probably in later episodes, of how to get to the optimized value, or the asset's optimal value, in order to be able to take out all of the money and use it for something else. So the first step, again, important, is buying it right. I'm not sure how many times we're gonna have to beat that drum, because it's the most important part of our process is the buying right. So you got to have the right return, the right cash flow. And then from there, once you've settled into that property and you've started collecting your cash flow, then you can draw up your plan for optimization. But it's very important that you have a plan before you even get into the property, so that you know how to execute it after. And that comes down to the processes that we keep talking about. So the first step, buying it right. Second step after that, I guess, is the optimization. I'm not sure we want to get into this in this episode. I don't know if you guys want to draw up a little bit on that or not, or touch on this a little bit on that. But I think that's pretty much it for now in terms of the entry point.
Well, I want to thanks Gabe for that, and this is Frank, by the way. Yes, I do like the guts and glory in the properties, but think about it. Okay, let's talk about optimization. What is optimization? It's do you want to even make it relevant to a tree or a plant or whatever? Do you want to buy when you buy a tree, do you buy a mature tree or a plant? And sometimes you could, but me, if the existing landscape area already has trees and plants there, but it's not part of my plan. Yeah, I'm gonna gut it. I'm gonna take everything out. I'm gonna cultivate the soil, get new, black soil, nice rich soil with all the nutrients or whatever, and I'm gonna plant my own tree and my own plants that meet my criteria for that thing. So I want to be better than my competition. I want to be better than my neighboring properties. So again, going into optimization, it's like buying a stock market. Are you going to buy a stock at the top of its market? No, you want to buy it below, and then how do you improve it? So again, obviously you're not improving the stock. It's the stock managers that improve it, yes, or the mutual fund manager that does it. So you got to think of yourself the same way. So when you're buying a property, I'm okay with both. So don't get me wrong. Gabe, I like your plan, cash flowing, and then renovate, all right, or at the same time. So you're still making money and make the property pay for it. Or you can, buy it right and accommodate or allocate in your head when you're estimating before you buy it, saying, okay, I'm gonna have to spend X amount for me to cultivate that landscape area, get new trees in there, and so forth. Yes, Marco.
You said something I want to touch on.
Yes.
Is because you're looking down and you're not looking at the screen, so it's hard to get your attention. I have to wave my hands. You said to have the property pay for it. I just want to stop there. So for the listener, they're going, that's like a Scooby-Doo moment. Like, what do you mean by that? How is the property paying for it? Well, if you buy it right with the right cash flow, and there's an opportunity to improve. So let's just touch on those things quickly. And then in the next episode, the very next one, we'll go over how to do what we're about to explain. I think it would be a good 1-2 punch. So first, underperforming rents, where the rents, for example, are $900 a month, but the owner's had it for so long, he's never improved rents or increased rents because he doesn't want to lose anyone. It's $500 a month right now. So there's a huge upside to raise rents. Well, you can't just buy the property and instantly double the rents because you're going to lose everybody. So it's going to destabilize the property. There has to be a process to that. And I'm assuming that if the property hasn't been updated either, it's going to be hard for you to fetch close to market rents. So, there's that to be considered. Also, who's paying the power? Who's paying the water? How is how are the utilities being distributed? There's, you could either change the whole system, or you could implement what's called a RUBS process, which is giving back the utilities over to the tenants, basically dividing up the whatever is collected into the tenant base, so they're paying for their own utilities without an expensive, conversion. So it's there's another way of doing that. And again, we're going to discuss the degree, go into the details into the next episode. Having bad management, changing that, low occupancy. Most people want 100% occupancy. That terrifies me. 100% occupancy, as Frank said, is the top of the stock market. You don't want to buy at the top stock. You're only going to get less occupancy. You can't have 100% occupancy 100% of the time. It's impossible. So you're buying it at the absolute most that it could ever make, which is not what we want at all. My financial orgasm is a 15%, is a high return at 50% occupancy. Very high return at a 50% occupancy means anything that we increase in rents or in occupancy is straight money in our pocket because we've already paid the expenses, the taxes, the insurance, maintenance, management, all the other shit that has to be paid with the first half. So with the next half, it's all profit, or most of it is anyway. And we can take the profits that we make, reinvest it into the building, and eventually over time, without putting a nickel of our own, improve the property. So there's a lot more. Frank has turned around a few mobile home parks, Gabriel as well, as and some apartment buildings that we have sprinkled all over the U.S. So they're very familiar with this stuff. So I'm sure I've missed something, and I want to leave some meat on the bone for you guys.
Well, no, I don't think you've missed anything. I think, and a lot of these points are kind of interrelated, right? Because if you have bad management and if the property is not up to date, obviously you're not going to fetch higher rent. But something that's important here is, and this is just, I guess, a warning, is a lot of the owners that are selling you these properties know about all these problems, and they know that there's all this upside available. And because of that, a lot of them are going to try and get you to pay more for the property because there's all that upside left for you. The one thing that they discount, and which we want to make sure that you understand, is that in order for that upside to be tapped into, somebody has to do the work and spend the money. And that's not going to be the seller. That's going to be you. And if you're going to be putting in all that work, time, and effort, who should be paid for that work, time, and effort? Is it your seller or should it be you? And obviously, it's a question that doesn't really require an answer. Everybody knows that the answer is you. So I think the mistake that most people make is that they buy something based on potential rather than buying based on what's really going on right now at the time of your purchase. So that's something that I wanted to highlight here. I feel that this is super important. That comes down to my point earlier of buying it right. But a lot of people actually enjoy paying for potential for some reason. I never got it. I don't know if you guys get it, but I never understood it. And that's something that you should be careful. So don't pay for potential. Understand the potential and what you can do to it so that you can actually reap the benefits. And that's super important, but don't pay for it.
Frank, what do you think of pro forma? Talk to me about
that's well said. Yeah, like bringing it back to the stock market. Someone's not going to sell you whatever, even if it's Amazon or an Apple stock or whatever, and say, hey, you know what? We know it's going to go to $150, so why don't you just give us $150 now? when today's market is like 80 or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. I don't
3,000.
Is that what it is? Okay, so I'm totally off. I don't play in the stock market. I don't play in any assets that I can't control. I played there before in that arena, and it's not for me.
Yeah, I know,
because I can't control it. So going back to what you said, right on, Gabe. Yeah, if you're rolling up your sleeves and you're taking the risk and the time to do all this shit, yeah, you shouldn't pay the owner or the seller that in advance. It's like, shit, if you wanted to do it, if you could do it, you should have done it. And if you didn't, you want me to roll up the sleeves? No problem. I'll roll it up. So again, when I look at properties, yes, I do look for that upside. I do look at how am I going to improve it? How can I make the 2.0 version of it? When products come out and they have, the new product that's out, there's already another product that has better features in it. That's what I look in a property. No different format. So it's just not a product. Obviously, it's real estate. So I look at the same thing. What are my competitors doing? What can I do better that they're not doing? And what can I do that they're not even offering? And that's exactly the same way I approach any property that I'm either gutting, or I'm starting from. It's still cash flowing, but still need to be some work to be done.
Optimizing is really the term here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So be careful of pro forma. That's kind of the term that you'll be seeing if you get into this business. The pro forma is this. The pro forma is that. This is how much money you could make. Mm-hmm. And they're selling it for a lot more than they really should based on what it could make in the future. So there are going to be risks versus rewards. And if you're doubling the rents because they say, hey, you can double the rents, there's destabilization when you start doing that, and you have to do it the right way. And that takes experience and knowledge if you don't know what you're doing. And you could get into a real problem if you don't, if you're not careful. And the first question I always ask is, well, why hasn't the seller done it? If it's such an amazing opportunity with so much potential, why isn't the seller doing it? And you'll be surprised at what the answers are. And there's some things where the seller doesn't know what to do. And we're definitely, as buyers, not going to say, well, if you did this, this, and that, you can do it very easily. You got to shut your pie hole and not say those things when you're buying it, because sometimes they just don't know. And ignorance is very expensive. Marcoism I've been using for a very long time. So it's important to know when you're being fooled, where the opportunities are, what the risks are. Let's take, for example, a building where it has a $300,000 gross. It's half occupied and rents are underperforming and it's been mismanaged. And we buy the building for, let's say, $1 million. So we get a really great deal. It's netting $150,000 a year. Again, it grosses $300,000. We get in there, and over 18 months, 2 years, 30 months, we get the gross revenue up to $400,000. Actually, a lot more than $400,000. About 400.
Double it.
We double it.
Occupancy,
so it could be $400,000, and we're increasing rents, making our net revenue now $200,000. In fact, to even let's say we just did 200,000.
Yeah.
Now the building's worth $2 million at least. It could be worth even 2.5 million bucks. When we refinance it, you could pull out, let's say 1.6, 1.7 million. If we owe $1 million because we bought it right, and we've put only the money that we've made, so we really haven't taken any money for ourselves. We've just put money back into the building, back into the building, back into the building, and any money that has come out has been reinvested into the project. And after, let's say, takes you 2 years, you owe $1 million, you refinance for $1.7 million, you pay off your old loan of $1 million, you're left with $700,000 cash in your pocket for 2 years. Tax-free. It's a refi. So it's $700,000 that you can now do something with. So maybe you could pull out a little bit of money every month just to say that you're making some money. But the sooner that you get the property optimized, the sooner you can refinance it. And it gets very, very exciting very, very quickly. So I don't know any business where you have no money in, you could still make a decent cash flow, and in a very short period of time with no money, no credit, because it's the business itself. It's the property that's being refinanced, not you. You're not the one that has to qualify. The property does. So if the business is doing well and has a track record, which it would after 2 years or even 18 months for that matter, actually 12 months technically. Once you have it's called a trailing 12 months. Once you have 12 months of good records, but you want optimized 12 months, meaning that you want the highest revenue for a 12-month cycle. And once you show a really high revenue for a 12-month cycle, that's the value that they're going to look at. And, I don't know of any business where you can pull out hundreds of thousands of dollars tax-free with absolutely zero skin in the game, other than having the right knowledge and implementing it the right way. So it's extremely exciting. Extremely exciting. So it's just a matter of recognizing the opportunities, understanding that, don't be sold a bill of goods where, hey, there's this great opportunity, you can buy it for future value. That's called pro forma, which is a trap. It's like buying. I have 2 acres of great land on Mars. You just have to figure out how to get there. It's going to cost money to do that. So you don't fall for that trap. Or you can buy Apple stock at what it's going to be in 5 years from now. Doesn't make any sense. You buy it for what it is today, as both Frank and Gabriel have said. And, follow the directions, which we're going to do next. So on the very next episode, we're going to go over some of the things that you can do to force appreciation, force revenue to go up, so you can refinance at maximum value. Anything else to add on this, boys, or do we wrap this up?
No, that's it. Don't miss the next episode. It's we're going to be revealing everything that we do, everything that we look at as well in terms of how we optimize a property to max out its value. So it's going to be very exciting.
Whoop, whoop. We'll see you on the next episode.
If you like this episode of Big Fat Real Estate Checks, then show some love by leaving a comment and a good rating. Also, as a thank you for tuning in today, we've got a special free gift. The journey to passive cash flow for life starts by finding deals, and it's easier than you think. Simply go to getdealsbytuesday.com, enter your email address, and we'll send you a free quick start course called Deals by Tuesday. Even if it's 11 p.m. Monday night, this course will show you how to find discounted real estate deals by Tuesday. It's that fast and simple. Go to getdealsbytuesday.com and start your journey toward life-changing cash flow today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.